Welcome back to the Gweilo 60 channel. The Chinese have just punked the United States of America in their trade talks.
Yes, sirree. I'm not freaking blind, guys. It's Gweilo style. I think it's Thursday. You can die? Yeah. Son of a bitch.
Geez, you know, oh yeah, because it goes on and on and on.
For all you haters, there's something to chew on for the next couple.
They have actually come up with an agreement where they're dropping 91% of the tariffs on each side. So what that means is tariffs against China, the 145, go down to 30%, and the 125 on the American side that China had tariffed against American goods goes down to 10%. Basically, the United States has backed off. But with the distortion of reality, the Trump administration is pumping their fist in the air saying, oh, we won the trade war, China backed down, oh, China this and China that. And you know how they are. These, you know, it doesn't matter if they came up with a pile of dog shit in their hand. They would say, well, this is the best dog shit in the world. You know what I mean? Oh, man. So what basically happened is the United States started phoning China, trying to get them to come to the table. So China did, and within like a day they had made an agreement. So, you know, backing off, and it comes down to a number of different things. The biggest one is Trump's ego, by far. What happens if all of the shelves are empty? What happens if inflation goes through the roof? What happens if the dollar keeps tumbling and the stock market gets worse and worse and worse? The only way to turn all of this around is for Trump, his administration, to make a deal with the Chinese and back off, because you look at like the port of Los Angeles. The imports are down 40%. It's not long before truckers are laid off, port workers are laid off. It's not long before shops start to go bankrupt. The employees of those shops are out of work. Unemployment goes up. People start losing their homes. More homeless people on the streets. You see, there's that effect that if you take away one large business, and importing stuff from China is a very large business, then it trickles down to all of these other things, right down to your daily employee in small shops that rely on Chinese goods for their inventory to sell to the people of the United States. So they didn't have a choice. China wasn't going to budge. China's just said, no. You get rid of the tariffs and we'll talk. Well, getting rid of 91% of the tariffs, why even start tariffing? And you see, and that goes back to why the tariffs were actually put on China at such a high rate, because Trump wanted to bring jobs back to the United States. Well, as soon as his ego got in the way and it looked like he was making the wrong decision, well, it's not about bringing jobs back anymore. It's about having concessions with China so that the shelves don't go empty and the people don't lose their jobs, and you know, and they don't lose their homes and stuff like that, because the people are starting to say, well, we're going into a recession and it's your fault, Donald Trump. The idea is that it was based on bringing jobs back to the United States, having manufacturing back in the United States, building factories back in the United States, all of this stuff coming back to the United States. Well, that sort of went out the window as soon as the shit hit the fan. You know what I mean? And the Chinese weren't going to budge. You know, they've got less tariffs on the Chinese now than a lot of different countries like Vietnam and Cambodia and well, even the Philippines. You know what I mean? Why? Because China's big enough that they can withstand a trade war indefinitely, and they're really not concerned. Back in 2000, the United States had the majority of, was the largest trading partner with the majority of the countries around the world. And now in 2024, and I'm going to put a little picture in here, that explains it better than what I can, because you can see the blue and the red in it, and then you can see how many countries China is the largest trading partner in the world with now. You know, so the idea that the tariffs were started for one reason, they were stopped for another reason, and the first reason that they had tariffs is out the window because it's not as important as Trump's ego and trying to look good and being that narcissist that he is. Not saying that he hasn't done some good things, but this trade war was not well thought out. It was very dumb. All the economists around the world told him, no, this is never going to work, and they were right. And this is the outcome. Embarrassment, lost trillions of dollars on stock market losses and income, and they lost face around the world. They, you know, all of these different things, and it didn't have to happen, but they listened to Trump. But this trade agreement that they've got going on right now, it's only good for another 90 days, and it's put in place for 90 days so that both sides can negotiate a long-lasting trade agreement between the two countries. No doubt, China is coming in as the strong person in these negotiations. They already saw the hand that the United States has played, and they called their bluff. The United States folded and dropped most of the tariffs. You know, so there's no doubt that China's going to come out on top in the trade agreement, and probably come out way better than they had before this trade war even started. So when you look back on stuff like this, it's sort of ridiculous in a way. You get a not very well thought out policy from the Trump administration, and they sort of go headlong into it, both feet in, and just keep going, and it falls apart. Now they've got to make a trade agreement with the largest economy in the world that only sells like 12% of their goods to the United States. And as I said, and you looked at the picture that I put up there about the trading partners of China around the world, they have been learning to diversify since the last Trump administration. They've been selling less to the United States and more to other parts of the world, and they'll continue doing that. So whether they make a trade agreement with the United States or not doesn't really matter to China that much, just for the fact that they really don't need the Americans. You get Trump telling people, we don't need your goods, we don't need this, we don't need that. Well, the Chinese don't say that, but that's the reality in China. You know, they're not out there talking. Talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words. And with the Chinese, you see them doing stuff and not telling everybody around the world, look at what we did, look at us. But the United States, they talk, but they never do anything. You know, remember the Build Back Better that the American government was bringing in to combat the Belt and Road Initiative? Exactly. It was just all talk. They really never did anything. They never thought that they were ever going to do anything. It was all just for press. It's for the mainstream media to grab a hold of and say, look what we're doing. Look at us. Look. Where the Chinese say, don't look at us. We're busy. We don't have time to deal with this stuff. And you can see it in these trade wars. Anyway, that's another video from Gweilo 60. If you like this video, as always, like, comment, subscribe. Boy, it's hot out here today. It's like 40 degrees. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, what a beautiful world we live in. Thanks for watching. Peace out. Bye now.